Good morning to all. This is Subhashri from CSC Department, SNS College of Technology. We are going to see about anatomy and physiology of animals. So, anatomy and physiology of animals comprises of integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, and it have a circulatory system, digestive, respiratory, nervous, urinary, and endocrine system and all there. So, we have to analyze all those things. So, anatomy, that is a study of form and structure. Gross anatomy is the study of structures that can be seen within the naked eye. So, microscopic anatomy is the study of structures that require a microscope to be seen. So, physiology. Physiology is related to the functions of the body and all its parts, including cells, tissues, and organs. It is the study. It is a basic study for all those cells, tissues, and organs. The study of anatomy and physiology is generally divided into the function and integration of 10 organ systems. We are going to see about those 10 organ systems here. So, integumentary system, that is a skin. Integumentary, that means skin, whereas skeletal system comprises of bones. Muscular system is muscles. Circulatory system involves heart and blood vessels, whereas digestive system includes stomach and intestines. So, the next five is nervous system. Nervous system, we already know nervous in the sense it's a nerves, and respiratory system that consists of lungs and passageways, whereas urinary system is kidneys and bladder. Endocrine system is glands and hormones. Reproductive systems in the sense organs that are involved in producing an offspring. So, integumentary system, we are going to see about the skin now. The integumentary system is the exterior covering of the body. In all the things, in all the plants, animals, in every being, there is an integumentary system which covers a muscle, which covers the body and is essential for regulating the body temperature. Whereas here they are telling about the skin. So the skin is regulating our body temperature and balancing water. Whether we are going to dehydrate or we are going to hydrate. Then protecting the internal organs. It is used to protect our internal organs. So, the integumentary system consists of skin and skin appendages. Skin appendages in the sense which includes hairs, nails, horns, sebaceous glands and sweat glands. Okay. So, what is the function of a skin? The primary function of a skin is to act as a protective layer against the disease. It is used to protect us against an infection from the sun and other potential harmful elements. Okay. So, skin is also epidermis. The skin of animals consists of two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. So, epidermis is the outer layer of the skin and contains no blood cells. The epidermis is a superficial covering of epithelial tissue comprised of an external layer of dead cells sitting on a lower layer of living cells. Understand? It will sit on a living cell. So, living cell is in the lower layer and the dead cells are in the upper layer. Okay. So, what is a dermis? It is the inner layer of the skin and contains blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves, glands, hair follicles and muscle fibers. The dermis is a deeper layer of dense irregular connector tissue. It is very dense and is irregular. Then we can see here in this diagram we are seeing the hair follicle which comes from the dermis. Dermis is the inner skin and the epidermis is the outer layer which consists of inner layer and outer layer which is consists of a dead cell. So sebaceous gland is also here that covers the follicle. Sebaceous gland means it is a fat gland. So loose connective tissues are also there for giving some air space. Hair follicle, arteriole and fat cells are also there to protect our muscles. Okay. So there is a sweat gland too. So skin appendages, modified extensions derived from the skin include hair, scales, hoofs, feathers, claws, horns and nails. It depends on the animal and its body. Okay. When coat coverings differ between animal species, goats, horses, cattle and swine have hair. Sheep have wool and poultry have feathers. Depending upon the animals, depending upon the beings, it varies. So, hair, wool and feather are all comprised of protein and are essential for regulating our temperature. Each hair follicle has a small bundle of smooth muscle fibers that can contract to pull the hair perpendicular to the skin surface. Here there is an arrector pili muscles are stimulated to contract involuntarily by the nervous system in times of stress or cold. When all hairs are standing perpendicular, they trap more air and keep the animal's body warmer. So mainly it is to protect our body temperature, right? So glands, in the sense, the principal glands of the skin are sweat glands and sebaceous glands. Sweat glands release water to cool the body, whereas the sebaceous glands secrete oil substances to lubricate the skin and hair. Okay, so what is the next thing? Sensory receptors. Sensory receptors in the dermis of the skin detect touching, when it is paining, and what is heat and cold. Sensory receptors include Merkel cells, Meissner corpuscles, Pacinian corpuscles, free nerve endings. So, sensory receptors. Merkel cells respond to very light pressure. Okay, Meissner's corpuscles are sensitive to touch and are found in delicate areas such as the lips and fingertips. Those are very delicate areas. And sensory receptors are to Pacinian corpuscles, which detects more pressure. In free nerve endings sense heat and cold as well as touchings. So, what is the skeletal system? The skeletal system is the framework of the body. Each and every being have a skeletal system that is of bones. The skeletal system is made up of bones and connective tissues and provides structural support for all the other organ systems. So here we see a skeleton of a goat. The basic structure of a goat will be like this: a skull which have a cervical vertebrae. Vertebrae in the sense it's like a spinal. It's like a neck. There will be a bones on our back of the neck. So that is the vertebrae. When thoracic vertebrae is there, thoracic vertebrae in the sense it is of in the shoulders, and lumbar vertebrae, sacral vertebrae, and coccygeal vertebrae. So scapula, skeleton, humerus, ulna, radius are also there. We human beings are having fibula and tibia. Likewise, it has carpus and metacarpus. So, skeletal system protects the organs of the body. The skull protects the brain, ribs protect the lungs, and vertebrae protect the spinal cord. So, skeleton also works in conjunction with the muscles to allow the movement of the different body parts. We are shaking our hands. So, here we are using our bones with the muscles to operate, right? So, what is the skeletal system? Skeletal is made up of the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. So the axial skeleton consists of those bones on the midline of the body, including skull, vertebrae, ribs, sternum, etc. Whereas the appendicular skeleton is comprised of those bones coming off the midline of the body, including forelegs, that is arms, hind legs, that is legs, whereas bones in the pelvic region. Okay, pelvic region means it is in the hips. When bones are divided into 4 classes: long bones, flat bones, short bones, and irregular bones. So, long bones found in the limbs, which are the supporting columns and levers for the skeletal system and the body. Flat bones protect the body's organs and serve as an area of muscle attachment. We can see longitudinal section of a long bone in a young animal. So, those who already have eaten the beef, the legs into the arms, the leg bone will be seen like this. Okay, so the bones, short bones such as the bones in the knee, hock, that is a joint, diffuse concussion, diminish friction and change the direction of tendons. Irregular bones are those found in the vertebral column. So let's see what is bone is made up of: organic and inorganic matter. The organic matter is mostly collagen and gives bone flexibility and resilience. The inorganic matter is mostly tricalcium phosphate and gives bone rigidity and hardness. So what is bones? The inner core of the bone is soft tissue called bone marrow. Some of the bone marrow consists of yellow felt called yellow marrow. Okay. The outer portion of bone marrow is comprised of red tissue called red marrow. The red marrow is responsible for blood cell and platelet formation. So what is here? Bone is a living tissue that changes constantly. Bone undergoes continuous deposition, that is creation of a new bone material, and resorption, removal of old bone material. This is the continuous deposition. Bone is formed from cartilage when the animal is an embryo. The process is known as endocardial ossification or endochondral bone formation. The bone forming cells are known as osteoblasts. Osteoblasts develop into osteocytes or mature bone cells. Bone formation occurs at the growth plate. Primary ossification occurs at the metaphyseal growth plate. Secondary ossification occurs at the epiphyseal growth plate. The secondary class ossification site is the center of the epiphysis.